For 13 years, I lived between 120 and 125 pounds, fighting my body, tracking calories, working out constantly, thinking I had found balance. But I was exhausted. I didn't realize I wasn't unhealthy because I was overweight. I was unhealthy because I was trying to do it my way. And when I finally stopped trying to control everything and followed God's design for health, everything changed. Let me tell you how we got here. I was about 150 pounds, the heaviest I had ever been. And I'm 4'11, so I was a little teapot, short and stout. When you party, you drink. And when you drink, you eat. And boy, did I eat. Then I moved to Mississippi and lost 15 pounds doing P90X and meal prepping. Just a scoop of rice, a scoop of grilled chicken, and I got down to 135. But here's the thing, it wasn't sustainable. It was rigid, it was temporary, and I still ate out constantly. Mississippi is the land of Southern comfort. They have every single chicken restaurant you can think of. Zaxby's, Popeyes, Church's Chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken, like every place Bojangles, they had every single chicken place you can think of. So that's what I would do. And then let's not forget all the other fast food restaurants have chicken sandwiches. So I ate out a lot. And even though I could run, you could never outrun a bad diet. Over the years, I tried everything. Weight Watchers, Atkins, the Mayo Clinic diet. Ugh, that was awful. Eating lean cuisine, green smoothies, calorie counting. I went through my gym rat phase and everything in moderation. And yes, I could maintain, but I could never transform. After failing PT tests, I got serious. I tracked everything, worked out 3 to 5 times a week, lost another 15 pounds. About 6 years later, I got down to 114 at one point in Montana, and I thought I was hot. I mean, I was. And I could fit the old clothes from like years ago. But here's what I didn't realize. Even at my fittest or thinnest, I was still managing my body. I was negotiating with it, controlling it, and I was constantly afraid of gaining weight back. I set rules like never go over 128. My warning weight would be like 125, and that was the alarm that woo, 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 get back on track. And I would start tracking immediately. It was control disguised as discipline. And here's something embarrassing. At 11 a.m. every day, I had to eat. I was a slave to my stomach. I literally told my supervisor, actually, once to never schedule meetings at 11 o'clock because I wouldn't be listening to him. And yeah, my stomach ruled me. Well, at the end of 2021, I was working on earning my monk badge through the Strenuous Life. And one of the requirements was fasting once a month for 3 months. And honestly, fasting changed that. It put me back in charge of my stomach. And around that same time, I found Jesus again. Now, stay with me. When we started taking the Bible seriously, it started affecting everything because church leads to conviction, and conviction led to dietary changes. So we stopped eating unclean meats like, bacon, shrimp, vultures. No, just kidding. But then we started questioning meat in general. Chicken, beef, fish, and slowly over the years, over 2 years actually, we transitioned to plant-based. But it wasn't overnight. So first we quit chicken, and yes, I know they're not beef. We replaced it with beef, and then we got beefed out. Then came cheese. Oh, cheese. I used to think I hated cheese, but I think it was one of those like, I'm pretending like I didn't like cheese, but I actually loved it. Like I love pizza. I put Parmesan cheese and everything. More Parmesan than the spaghetti. You know what I mean? So spaghetti. When you quit something, honestly, you usually replace it with something else. And I don't think I've ever eaten so much cheese in my life after we started removing all these other things. And eventually, Andy went vegan. Then I followed suit. We cut caffeine, yes, even chocolate. That's something that people don't talk about. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I don't drink Coke or I don't drink coffee anymore or energy drinks, but people never want to talk about chocolate. God forbid. We reduced processed foods. We made more meals at home. And something unexpected happened when we first started removing foods like chicken. Our stomachs were so much happier. We stopped eating Tums every night, no more ginger ale after meals, and no more tea to settle our stomachs. There was a point where we realized we had a ton of tea and we were like, we don't even drink this anymore. We just drink it now for leisure, you know? But more than that, though, something shifted. First Corinthians says, or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own? When you realize you're being entrusted with a body from God, you start asking different questions. Not how thin can I get, but how well can I steward this body that has been given to me? And around the same time, I discovered something called NEWSTART. And I realized this isn't a diet. It's a design. It's a lifestyle. When we started reading the Bible seriously, I was shocked. God doesn't just care about my salvation, He also cares about my health, physical, mental, spiritual. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm just sharing what we have experienced from our experience. So NEWSTART, because I want to share this with everybody, stands for nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. People don't like that last one sometimes, and they think that they can just remove it. You can't just remove God from, just like you can't remove the spiritualism out of yoga, you can't remove God from the whole body experience. But let me walk you through what changed for us. So, nutrition. When we became plant-based, we had to learn what we were eating, and we didn't want to be deficient in anything. Everyone worries about protein and B12, but beans, lentil, tofu, they're packed with protein, and there's actually protein in everything. One day, I actually went through all the foods I ate and started calculating the protein, and I was basically meeting my protein needs for the day. If anything, people eat too much protein, and guess what? If you don't burn that off, it gets turned into fat. And people are like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. You're putting too much beefcake into your system and you're not using it up. So, and I even had a friend who was taking these energy drinks that were supposed to help pump him up for the gym. And he started having like gas problems and he had to go take a lab. And it showed that he was too high on that I can't remember what it was. And it was like, well, you used to do that when you worked out. You don't even work out anymore, but you're still drinking the thing. So of course, everything's going to be out of whack. Um, Going back to the beans thing though, people think like, oh, you're Hispanic, you eat a lot of beans. My family's Peruvian. We didn't eat a lot of beans. Yeah, chicken, corn, potatoes, uh, rice. Uh, Maybe I saw a bean once. I think I seen a lima bean. You know what I mean? But yeah, we never ate beans. I'm eating more beans now in my life, I think, to make up for all the beans I didn't eat. So yeah. Um, and then you think to yourself about the B12. Honestly, I do struggle to explain this, so I'm not going to have Andy do that for you. Andy will explain the B12 portion. Whoop.
Howdy ho. So B12, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into it, but when you're looking at B12 as a general rule, it's a product of bacteria that tends to thrive in fermentation environments. So even when you think about meat, right, the only reason why there's B12 in meat is because it came from the fermentation of other animals like cows that have like a little fermentation tank in their stomach. So even true B12 is not a meat or animal-based product. It's actually a product of fermentation. You can actually get B12 in certain amounts in mushrooms, in fermented foods like kombucha or other things that you do. But one of the slightly less known but actually researched and proven methods is actually the human body, not the human body in a literal sense, but we can host that B12 producing bacteria in our mouths overnight while food is fermenting. You know, if you're sleeping, the food that's left inside your teeth just starts to decay, which is basically fermentation. And through that, whenever you go through the night, one of the first things that people always teach you is, okay, you've taken your sleep, wake up, brush your teeth. That's actually the wrong thing. What you're doing is you're denying yourself from a naturally occurring amount of B12 that you could have. So All you really need to do is once you wake up first thing in the morning, have a swig of some room temperature water, swish it around, make sure you get it wherever it is all in your mouth, and just drink that. Will it provide everything you need, like just in that source? Maybe, maybe not. There's been testimonials from people who have been in, let's say, parts of the world where they didn't have access to supplements and they refused to eat meat still or any animal products. And they were just fine using this as their regular source of this. And then also, it tends to actually be present in most plants and waters that are not fully sanitized. So, really, one of the big contributors to a lot of B12 deficiency is actually the over sanitizing that we've done of a lot of foods. Think of it in terms of, hey, when you used to be eating an apple or a potato, right? Now we make sure to do everything we can possible to make sure there's not a single amount of bacteria on it. But back in earlier times, it's you grab it, hey, maybe some dirt gets into you, that's fine. And that dirt was a host for the B12 producing bacteria and various different things. So having to supplement through these various other sources is actually a result of us getting ourselves too far away from our natural food sources and the natural kind of side effects that would happen from normal eating as it would be when you're actually a part of your food environment. But now that we've gone to this, super commercialized system where everything has to be devoid of all bacteria, we end up not just getting rid of the bad bacteria, but there's a lot of good bacteria that science has continued to prove over and over and over again is necessary for our microbiome. Basically, what this bacteria does is it breaks down different fibers and stuff like that, and it produces a lot of chemicals that our body needs to function, repair, and do all kinds of things that are combative to a lot of the major concerns that we have as a general Western society right now. And as they're beginning to learn the importance of these bacteria, these good bacteria, then you start understanding, okay, maybe it's not a matter of we need to eliminate all bacteria from our food. It's that we need to make proper dietary choices that feed and help foster the growth of positive bacteria while also ensuring we're not feeding and allowing the cultivation of negative bacteria, bacteria that feeds on high protein, high fat diets. Those are typically not good, as in, they'll do something in your body because your body's going to try and make do in some way, but there's actually a way that you can split it where fiber-rich consuming bacteria in the stomach has zero negative effects, whereas high protein, high fat consuming bacteria, which is typical of a meat heavy diet or a plant derivative heavy diet, these bacteria, while they do perform positive benefits in trying to help you break down those fats and proteins, they actually come with a greater amount of negative effects that offset the positive effects. It's basically like, your body's saying, well, I guess I have to make do because this is what you're putting in me. And these bacteria are something that feed on it. You think of it in terms of these are the weeds of your stomach, right? Weeds will make do with whatever soil is there and they'll eat the nutrients. Maybe they may put something back in, but at the end of the day, no one is happy when they have a yard full of weeds. And it's because in that area, you could be growing potatoes, carrots, corn, things that actually are fully beneficial instead of things that just happen to have an incidental beneficial effect that people are looking at as saying, oh, well, this is something that you're supposed to have because there's a benefit that they provide, not realizing that there's an alternative that provides zero negative effects and all benefits, which you find in fiber-rich consuming bacteria. Kind of off the tangent from B12, but it all brings it back to that idea of B12 is a positive bacteria that you want to foster in your stomach, in your food, because not B12, B12 is produced by a positive bacteria that does all these things. So you don't want to get too crazy in the weeds of making sure that you overly sanitize everything, because that is actually not good, and that's not how the body is designed. Not just for humans, for animals as well. There's been tests or studies and tests that have been done to prove that if you actually give cows milk that has been sterilized in the way that we sterilize it for human consumption, it kills them. They can't survive on it. There's a lot of these things that are necessary for the functions of just biological life forms, and sanitizing food to the degree that we do is actually very, very dangerous for having an optimally functioning body. We can get by doing these things because we have to insert all of these external supplements to try and offset them. But at the end of the day, a lot of these supplements don't get actually absorbed very well because they're so foreign to the body and it doesn't understand them. And a lot of them actually provide these nutrients either in such high quantities that they would cause negative effects or just be completely flushed out, or in other ways where they're just completely counterproductive for what you actually want them to do. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much knowledge man gains in being able to try and create things, if we try and recreate what God has made to provide a function, we will always make it worse. And that's essentially what a lot of these specifically supplement-driven replacements for these nutrients are, is man's best attempt at recreating God's perfection. But I mean, that's all I really got to say about B12 for now. Back to you, Nat. Which way?
Whew. So coming back to me, my labs better than ever. I used to be borderline anemic, and now I get compliments on my blood pressure and heart rate. One time they were doing my blood pressure, and they're like, "There's no way it could be like this. Only athletes are, this." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not an Olympian, but nutrition stopped being about restriction. It became intentional nourishment. Before I ate food that could just make me feel bad. Well, before I ate food to help me be a better runner. But now I eat food that fuels me for God's mission and makes me a better runner. You can still have both." So speaking of running, exercise, as I've mentioned, I'm a runner. And though cardio is really good for your heart and a healthy way to cope with life stressors, decompressing, strength training changed the game. More muscle equals better metabolism. And it's also improved my running. Another little exercise, going on 15-minute digestion walks after your meals. It aids with digestion and prevents sleepiness. Simple, effective, and free. Oh, and you get time in the sun. So water, we became intentional about when we drank water. Because we don't drink water 30 minutes prior to having a meal, during the meal, or up to an hour after our meals. And the reason why is because it aids with digestion, it helps your nutritional intake, and we've lost some weight because of it. We hydrate in between those meals and those windows, and because we have those windows, you're more intentional about when you drink water. So how do you know when you're properly hydrated? Well, if your urine is clear to pale yellow, then you're good to go. If not, you might want to consider drinking a little bit more water. And if you're thirsty, then you're probably already dehydrated. And honestly, whenever I have a headache, the first thing I ask myself is, have I been drinking water today? Because it happens, life gets so busy, you forget to drink water. And sometimes my husband will be busy in the kitchen cooking, and I'll bring him his hydro flask. I'm like, "Here, drink some water." He's like, "Oh yeah, thank you. I haven't been drinking." I'm like, "I know." Sunlight. Oh, people have such a complicated relationship with the sun. This is not Super Mario Brothers. The sun is not trying to kill you. I know that's how I feel sometimes. But moderate sunlight improves the vitamin D, your mood, and your circadian rhythm. We get about 30 minutes daily from our digestion walks because we do 2 meals, intermittent fasting, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And there are researchers who argue that diet plays a role in how the body responds to sun exposure. I'm still learning more about that, but here's something interesting I found in the book National Remedies Encyclopedia by Dr. Kimi. Dr. Kimi declares that a high-fat diet increases the likelihood of skin cancer. And if you are on a low-fat diet, sunlight hitting your skin actually inhibits cancer. And I can share my resource in the description below if you want to do more research on that. Temperance. People love saying everything in moderation. I say good things in moderation, bad things never. Remove those things altogether. And you know what's funny? Even good things in excess can be bad for you. I explained to my niece that if you eat a lot of carrots, you end up turning orange. If you drink too much water, it thins out all the salt in your system, and you can die. You can drown yourself from drinking too much water. Isn't that crazy? Honestly, though, temperance is one of the most challenging things to exercise in your life. And for some reason, we really like extremes. We are very black and white. It's hard for us to balance. But you know what? Balance is wisdom, and self-control is a fruit of the spirit. Air. Air. Fresh air matters. Another benefit of our digestion walks is getting fresh air. Right now, we currently live near a preserve, so there's lots of fresh air. I love running through there, running through the trees. And though we'll be moving to a city soon, I still say some fresh air is better than none. So go outside, get some fresh air. Here are actually a couple of tips that I got from the American Lung Association. One, it says breathe through your nose because it filters, warms, and humidifies the air you breathe, helping in dry or cold environments. And actually, as a runner, a way to help decrease dehydration while you're running is to breathe through your nose because when we breathe out through our mouth, we breathe out a lot of moisture. So breathing in, and you're breathing out, you go, but or you just, and that's hard though, especially if sometimes you're congested. Ooh. Two, or you're like my husband who has tiny nostrils. Two, humans are belly breathers, and proper breathing starts in the nose and then moves to the stomach as your diaphragm contracts. The belly expands and your lungs fill with air. It is the most efficient way to breathe as it pulls down on the lungs, creating negative pressure in the chest, resulting in air flowing into your lungs. So there is a proper way to breathe. Resting. So, says me, I also struggle from breathing. Sometimes you catch yourself just so rest. Recommended 7 to 9 hours. And did you know that sleep affects your weight, your hormones, your mood, and your mental health? Oh, sleep is so underrated. You can actually lose weight from sleeping properly. So here's some tips, very obvious, everybody knows these, and if you don't, then I'm happy to be sharing these with you. So first off, have the same bedtime and wake up time, even on the weekends. So your body's not just like, no screens before going to bed. Something about the light actually convinces you to, it kind of wakes you up. You want to have a cool, dark room. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night because you're just so hot and you're like, oh, so gross. Yeah, you want to be cool and you want it to be like completely dark, you know? And like sometimes some of these electronics have like little lights on it and we'll put like a sock or like a shirt on it because you're trying to keep it nice and dark. And we actually don't usually have TV screens in our bedroom because I don't know. There's a screen in this room. We haven't used it once. Don't have caffeine late in the day. So as I said, in our case, we don't drink caffeine anymore. But I did notice that once upon a time that if I had caffeine after noon, like noon and just a little bit, I could not go to sleep. But that was when my life started changing. Back in the day, I used to go to sleep and wake up in the middle of the night and drink like a Diet Coke or something, and I would sleep. So people like to be like, "Oh, caffeine doesn't affect me." Yeah, me too, bro. I used to drink like 3 Red Bulls and be like, "I'm totally down to party," and still go to sleep on time. I think it's once you start taking care of your body and you start weaning it off the things, all of a sudden your body realizes the way it should be processing things properly. And oh, lastly, no heavy meals late at night. You do not want to be having some of these crazy dreams, and because your body's still digesting, you're not actually sleeping. Your body's the factory is still working. You know what I mean? You know. So and sleep is the perfect time for it to repair itself, not just from like physical, the sick, from like I always think muscles, right, because of running, but also from sickness. That's why when you're sick, you want to sleep sometimes. And yeah, it's just sleep. Sleep is so underrated. Trust in God. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." For years, I leaned on my understanding, trying to do things my way. Calories, control, strategies. One of my friends in high school said to me that I was a control freak, and I didn't believe her until many years later. I finally clicked. I'm like, oh, yeah, I am. But when we trust God's design instead of fighting it, guess what? Peace came. Oh, peace. And Jeremiah 30:17 says, "For I will restore health to you and heal you of your wounds, says the Lord." And I believe that includes physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health. Okay, so the moment you've all been waiting for, the weight reveal. So at my heaviest, I was 150 pounds. And for 13 years, I was balancing between 120 and 125, thinking that that was my base weight. After becoming vegetarian and applying some of these principles, not all of them, some of them, I was balancing 112 to 115. Well, after committing to a plant-based diet, exercising, not just running, but also strength training, and all these things from NEWSTART, I now maintain 100 to 105 pounds. Actually, I weighed myself this morning and I was 105 pounds. So, but you know what? Listen carefully. The weight loss isn't the biggest victory. That's just the result of all the other things that happen and get implemented. Peace is a massive victory. Energy and having energy to do things is a great victory. Being able to run faster is incredible. And recovering quickly, bouncing back, and not fighting my body anymore. You know, it took me 13 years of managing, 13 years to manage my body. And you know what? Just 2 years, 2 years of transition. I know it's not a quick fix. It's a lifestyle. And honestly, it's made me a healthier and happier person, wife, Christian, daughter, sister, and of course, runner. Well, well, if you find yourself that you're stuck in a cycle just like I was in, you know, tracking, restricting, restarting, and doing it all over again, you know what? Maybe it's time to stop trying to control everything and just start trusting the designer. Start with one principle, you know, just one, and see what happens. And I hope this video has helped you. And if it has helped you, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. Let me know which New Start principle you struggle with most. I'll say it. Temperance. That's huge. That's the one I struggle with. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Hope you all have a blessed day. Bye.